We moved the truck into the shop where I can close the doors and at least have a little AC and some fans to work on this thing with. Where we left off, I had bought a bunch of parts. The intake was missing a bunch of parts, so I had to stop. I had to order parts. Okay, so we'll start breaking this thing back down again. And there it is. Okay, we set this back out of the way for a while. I gotta get a bucket. Okay, found a bucket. All right, try to get this underneath the truck. Try to catch as much of this as we can and go from there. All right, try that. Well, there we go. Now we got a mess. Now we got a mess. All right. A little bit of a mess, not too bad. I mean, it'll dry. It's just kind of pretty. It's going to be a bigger mess as I go. So we just keep some towels and some rags handy, and that's just the nature of the beast when you're doing stuff like this. Stuff's going to leak. Stuff's going to happen. So now I got to get the heater hose off of it, and that's probably got water in it too. So let's see what happens with that one while we got the rag here. Yep, there we go again. This time I was prepared. I had the rag. All right, I think I've got to get in here with this motor. It's so far back from the front end. I think we figured out how to get up in here now, so I can reach things a little bit easier. All right, there's one side. I think the next thing we need to do is probably go ahead and pull the distributor cap off and get the plug wires out of my way. This is the one thing I hate about working on Chevrolets is the damn distributors in the back. At least when I work on Fords, everything's up front when you can freaking reach it. All right, there. Okay. All right, there. All right, I think that's it. There it is. All right, there's the valve covers. These are tight. I probably want to check these. But right now, got that bracket loose now. Alright, I think that's out of the way now. We can take all this other stuff off when we get the intake off of it. Alright, let's get back up here with it again where we can reach everything. I think we can take these off of this impact. Save some time here. We'll have to torque them back on when we put them back together, but as far as disassembly goes, I think we're good here. Oh, can't get to that one. Can't get to that. Alright, run a little bit more. Get that bracket out of the way. Yeah, all this stuff's just too hard to reach when you're little. I guess it really doesn't matter unless you're 8 feet tall. You're not going to reach it anyway. That's just a lifting bracket. All right, a couple more. I think that we're good. Oh, for crying out loud, come out there. It's hot down here. Even with the fans running and everything else, it's still hot. I think the heat index outside right now is about 104. Alright, I think we got all the boats out of here. I know this is going to be pretty heavy. And I'm in not a good position to do this. But I'm going to have to try. I could really use a couple extra hands here. But I live out in the woods. And my hands is the only ones available. So, alright, let's see what we can do with it. There it is. Alright. Put the rag back down in that hole right there. There it is. Alright, the intake's off. We can see the valve train. Everything in here looks new. I mean, all the push rods are evidently replaced. Lifters look new. I prefer to use Teflon tape. A lot of people use pipe dope, but pipe dope, I wind up with that stuff head to toe on me, and I'm pretty good at wrapping stuff with the tape. Okay, I think we're good now. Alright, we get the intake gaskets kind of stuck to here. And get something to hold it in place. Alright, let's let that set up a few minutes before we try to put the intake on here. Alright, we get the front and rear seals done. I like to put some RTV on this part, especially where the gasket meets the head gasket. We should be good to go. Alright, I think it's time to grab the intake. Let's see if we can set this down on here. Alright. Couple of screws started on both sides. I'll go back and put thread locker on these. These are brand new chrome screws, so probably gonna need it as soon as we can get it started here. Alright, I think we got them started. Get a couple started here anyway. Alright, we'll pick this up when I get it tightened down. Okay, we got the intake on. We'll go back and recheck the torque on the bolts before we fire everything up. We got the chrome valve covers prepped and ready to go on. A couple of things. Got the new water or the thermostat housing bracket. Get a chrome one to go over here. New thermostat. It's a 195. Something I didn't mention when I was putting this intake on that you need to remember when you're tightening down any intake, because the way the gaskets are, you need to start in the center here and work your way out. There's a certain sequence to do this so you don't warp the intake or have a gap in the gaskets. Also, too, one thing I failed to do was to take into account I needed a return spring. So I made a bracket out of a piece of metal that I had off an old project, and I'll put this here on this intake bolt. I've still got to go back and torque them all down. Got a 3/8 torque wrench. The spec on the aluminum intake is about 25 foot-pounds, and I've got them down maybe about 10 or 15 pounds right now just to get it to seat. When I take this off and put it all back in, I'll go back and do the torque sequence then. So let's get at it. Alright, we've got the new distributor now. Brand new. See if we can get this to drop back down in just like we took the other one out. Let's see if this will go back down in there like the other one came out. We have the distributor in the hole. Of course, we pointed the rotor button at the #1 cylinder when we pulled it out. So we go back in with the rotor button pointing at #1 cylinder. We should be just like we were when we came out. All right. There's the new distributor. Well, as things go, we run into a problem with the new valve cover on this side over here. The valve cover is a little bit taller than the one that was on there, so it's hitting the back of the alternator. Okay, we got the distributor in, caps on it. I was hoping to get a lot more done than this afternoon, but you ever have one of them days where you drop the screw, you can't find it, you drop a wrench, and you know it's here, but you don't see it? Well, that's kind of the way my afternoon's been. I guess tomorrow's Monday. I got to go back to work. So I'll pick this up tomorrow afternoon. Maybe I'll have a better afternoon tomorrow. I think I'm going to slide the carburetor on it right quick before I leave. Alright, let's see if we can slide this carburetor on here. And of course, another one of them. It should be so easy to do. There it goes. Now the back's not lining up, but that's okay. There it is. Now, I'm hoping the nuts on the back are going to be long, or the screws on the back are going to be long enough to get the nuts on it. That's probably going to be my next problem. I'm going to put these on here just to say I did. Alright, I think that's it for tonight. I'll pick this up tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow's a better day. So until then, I think I'm going to call it a night. Welcome back to RDS. Last night seemed to be having more problems than I was having luck. Well, I'm back down here to get started again. Yeah, we're hoping to have a little better luck tonight than we did last night. I think maybe after working all day, it might be a little easier. I don't know. Okay, we got the linkage somewhat situated right here. It may need a little bit of adjustment. We got a couple of fasteners that we need to get on to the accelerator. We'll figure that out. But right now, we kind of got an idea of how everything's going to go. Got PVC into the valve cover. We have a breather on the back. Got a couple of vacuum lines we still got to get hooked up. But we're making progress tonight, which is more than I can say for last night. By the way, I was able to get the carburetor tightened down. The back nuts did go on. If I would have done this last night, it probably wouldn't have. But right now, I mean, I think we're making good progress tonight. It just took some letting my brain rest, I think. Got the fuel line hooked up, got the carburetor on, got the linkage where we need it to be. Plug wires, we still got to run them right quick, but got a problem with the heater hose. I think the outlet is a 3/4 and this is a 1/2 inch. I'm going to have to get a different one of these. And this radiator hose is pretty loose, even tightening the clamp down. I don't think that's going to work. Anyway, it's just part of the process when you're doing stuff like this. They don't show you this on TV or most places, that you run into different issues as you go. Everything is taller now. Everything is more condensed. New stuff doesn't fit like old stuff. That's just the way it is. But we're making progress. I think before I run the plug wires, I want to make sure I got everything else working and going. It won't take but a minute to stick plug wires on. That's no big deal. Had to go get another piece of heater hose. Alright, we got the new heater hose spliced in and made that back to the box. Okay, we're real close. Plug wires are on it. We kind of got to get some of this stuff up off the headers. I don't know why they send plug wires so short. Alright, we're going to clean the shop up a little bit. Okay, there it is. It's all put together now. Alright, let's try to fire it up, and then we'll see what we got to do with getting it tuned up on the next video. Alright, it fired.